Hello? The shrill voice of Gussie Dup, just following that kind of meditative state we built there with the drum. I'm so glad you're here with me for 420 Tarot. I am currently mesmerized by the fact that my poison ring won't stay closed. Many of you know this is also my wedding band. So I'm thinking, all right, what kind of synchronicity is this? What is this? Grim, we need to talk. But time to redo the magic within, I guess. Time for a recommitment. You know, just yesterday we were talking about markers and memories, and certainly an anniversary that rolls around would, you know, qualify as one of those major markers, right? So Grim and I are approaching an anniversary here soon. So, and it's also my birthday next month, and it's also Mist's birthday next month, and it's also our eldest son's birthday this month, and our eldest daughter's birthday this month. Have a few of our Covenstead animals that were born in September, October, and it's just one of those times of the year that we all know kind of signifies a bunch of markers for our family, including yesterday, you know, the marker of the anniversary of my father's death. Lots of thoughts about all of that. Conversations, you know, I do reach out to my own ancestors and I do chat, but like many of you, it's not as easy for me to receive the information for myself as it is for other people. But I have been working on that. This little, he does not want to stay closed. You see what I'm saying? It's supposed to stay closed. Yes. Oh, by the way, I apologize in advance. I know my eyes are awfully red on the camera, particularly this one. And yeah, we could, you know, jot that up to the fact that it's 420 tarot, but really my allergies have been off the hook. They've been really, really bad lately. It's that time of season, isn't it? And it's been a few years, really, since I've spent a full autumn season in this part of the world. The Pacific Northwest, where Grim and I came from and Mist, very, you know, although similar flora and fauna, different temperate zones and different microclimates altogether, and so it's just different being back in this part of the world where I grew up. So I'm itching and sneezing, and forgive me for that. And my drum is a very sensitive drum, and she doesn't always sound good in certain weather. And so today I picked her up, and I wondered if she would sound good. I didn't make this one myself. She kind of came to me via a stop at a pawn shop one day. And I know she was handmade, of course, but also not the greatest job of stringing the back. And it's almost like some of the leather, I don't know, she's not the great, but she needed a home, and so she came to me. And certain ways I hold her, she sounds different. But one of the things that I was experimenting with, you know, that heartbeat, that heartbeat rhythm. That heartbeat rhythm is the one that we all came into this world as part of. You know, the very heartbeat of our mother. Not only could we hear it as we were being created, our souls were, you know, floating in and out and experiencing that same rhythm. And because I don't believe that the soul is completely there the whole time the baby's being developed. That's just my personal view. My personal view as a spiritual woman, as a mother, is that I felt that little energy come and go during the course of development in my body, in my womb. So, and that's just how I experienced it. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just kind of the way I view it. But whether you're a mother or not, a mother to human children or furried or scaled or swimming children, that doesn't matter. That heartbeat is a familiar tone, a familiar rhythm to a lot of species. And maybe different rhythms, different timbres, of course. But when I'm working on mentoring someone who is working on energy, working on controlling their own energy, one of the things that I will often instruct them to do is to pick up a drum. Pick up a drum or a tambourine or anything that really is something you could use rhythmically. You know, by nature, I think we are drawn to the drum. This just basic, you know, ancient. This one is a frame drum from the United States, but certainly there are other drums with other names that look very similar that were created in other cultures globally. And so the drum is resonant with our very souls, isn't it? For many of us, think about that. So when I work with folks on learning to control their own vibrational frequency, working with their energy patterns, one of the things that I'll have them do is grab a drum and get really focused on the rhythm, that heartbeat rhythm. And in my case, what you found me doing when you entered the space here with me today is I was trying to see if my intention, my thought intention, could affect the sound and tone of the drum that I made with my hand. A lot of times when I ask people to grab a drum, one of the things we do is keep our eyes focused on one spot. I don't teach drumming. I'm not a drummer. I teach energy and focus. So I don't know, you know, if you're a professional drummer out there, I'm sorry if I'm doing this any kind of injustice. I don't intend it to be rude or, you know, or anything like that. I just I will have them look at one spot on the drum and focus on hitting that same spot. Maybe take 2 spots then and learn the tone that those 2 spots make. Because each one sounds a little different depending on its location on the surface of the drum, the tension of the strings on the back, how I'm holding it, the moisture in the air can affect it. So all sorts of things kind of go into what the sound of a frame drum like this makes. But I wanted to see if I could affect it with my energy. I have I have I'm trying to decide how to say this. I've often experienced how my emotions can affect the rhythm, the tone, the sound of a drum. Just like, you know, anytime a drum is struck in war, in rhythmic, I can't talk, in rhythm for war is what I'm trying to say. And I'm hearing like so many things about drums right now. It feels like quite a few of you either really love drums or have always wanted to pick up a drum or be part of a drumming circle or something like that. And I say, why not? If you want to join me in a drumming circle in Zoom or something, let's do it. I think that would be tremendously fun. And you can find out a lot about yourself in the heartbeat and rhythm of a drum. Or, you know, really any kind of a percussive instrument like this. But there's something about striking the instrument with your hand. In this case, feeling the hide beneath my hand, the tension from the sinew on the back, the wood frame itself, knowing that someone put their energy into making this. And even though she isn't perfect, and sometimes she doesn't sound the greatest on rainy and wet days, neither do I. And so sometimes when I talk, if I hold her just right, my voice will actually bounce right off the surface of the drum. Anyways, when I teach people to focus their energy, I'll teach them to focus on one spot on the drum and try to strike that same spot. And try to feel what it feels like, the rhythm of your hand. The same spot, over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And it should be a rather gosh, I keep hearing so many things. It should be a really steady sound, like you can count on it to sound pretty much the same every time that you strike the drum. But I was trying to affect it with my intention, wondering if I could make it sound softer or harsher or you know, somehow different. So I took my focus completely off of where my hand placement was going. I wasn't paying attention on purpose, and it did, to me, it sounded like a steady rhythm, but kind of a cacophony of different pitches. But then I started focusing on being able to change that focus just by kind of bringing it in tune. Gosh, and that's why no one ever really has any great instructional videos on, you know, how to do any of this stuff, because really the truth is it's such a unique and individual experience that the only way you're going to learn it is to grab something like this and give it a go. You know, think back on maybe this conversation or conversations you've had with other people, but, you know, knowing that when you connect with an instrument, whatever kind it is, even if it's your own voice. And by the way, the whole idea of making noise this week has kind of been one of those patterns I've seen emerge over and over again in readings. So even yesterday's Tarot Tuesday, if you didn't catch that, head back on over to the Purple Door or the Purple Door Divination Guild, and there is the 3-card Tarot Tuesday draw that we do every Tuesday. You get to choose one or all 3 of the cards. Some people, you know, routinely choose all 3, but each card has a different message, and you're welcome to go be a part of that, if you will. Purple Door on Facebook. The Purple Door, with a little energy symbol in front of it, because there's a lot of other purple doors out there now. Anywho, I digress. Uh, so if you're on your spiritual journey and you are, looking for ways to kind of expand it, and you're not exactly sure what you want to do, um, you know, going into the fall, sitting around a campfire together, having our drums or some other percussive instrument in our hands, in our space, and being able to share that sounds really inviting. So if that sounds inviting to you, get yourself a drum and stay tuned, because when I do an As the Crow Flies Day, I never quite know what's going to pop out. I just let spirit guide me toward the conversation that needs to be had, that needs to be heard, and some days it's deep, kind of philosophical, get to know yourself better kind of stuff, and some days I've been finding more and more that I'm just finding spirit talking to me about ways to spend quality time in reflection that doesn't always have to include listening to a meditation video or meditative music, but actually creating our own. So gosh, I just had this image of myself, because I can see there's a little, how up in the corner there's a little tiny camera with my face looking back at me. So it's kind of blurry because I've got my glasses off, but I can see my dread sticking up here, and I can see my fuzzy hair, and I can see this eye is much redder, and I was looking at it and I realized I look a little bit like, oh my goodness, she's a Muppet character. I want to say, is she like from the Dark Crystal or something? She's like this big. Who? The Fizzgig, says Mist. Yes, I just had a Fizzgig overlay when I glanced up at my little picture there. So, why do they put this stuff on YouTube? I don't know. Anyways, I'm glad you're here with me. I hope you have enjoyed my little drumming lesson there. It really is a great tool to use if you are trying to get in touch, in tune with your own rhythm, your own guidance. There's something about drumming, at least for me, that really brings out something more primal. It takes me to a liminal space quite quickly. I feel very connected to many, many, many ancestors through the sound of the drum, and know that not only, in this time and space, but many other times and spaces before, have the drum sounded in one way or another, particularly around a fire meant for friends and family. So I wish I had a drum to sell you, because I wish I carried some that looked great, that you could go on our website and purchase, but we let our website go down for a little while. We weren't getting enough traffic to it, and so it just seems silly to keep throwing things in that direction. We really do want to feature, handmade art from people around the world if possible, but knowing that shipping is an issue, really focusing on the North American continent, artisans from there. And I do have some drum makers, but that I know that I think do fantastic work that I could recommend, but none that we sell right now. I wish that was the case, but not right now. Anyways, let's pull a card for today. I brought both my candle and my black tourmaline quartz. So let's see what Spirit has to say. I already, of course, cleansed my area. It's something that I do quite frequently, as does Mist and Grim, because we're all in the bus together. But it never hurts to kind of cleanse your own space, whether it's with a wipe of your hand, much like you'd wipe off the counter, or if you intentionally grab a wand or a crystal. And I always counterclockwise, escort the negative energies out, and then I kindly escort the positive energies back in, much like a spiral dance, if you will. That's just a little bit of Buddhism. I don't know if that's anything fancy or special. I practice my own unique blend of witchcraft, as does Grimm. And eclectic, you could call it, yes, but based on a lot of old ways passed down from my mother's family in particular. Although they would not necessarily have called themselves by the label that I use. Back at that time, that was a big no-no, of course. So, but just, I don't know why I'm digressing onto that. I guess it's an As the Crow Flies day. And plus, someone asked me today what kind of witchcraft I practice. So, that's been on my mind. So I guess that kind of just sort of swooped in there. That's another conversation for another day, and maybe over tea. That's what I'm thinking. All right, putting this candle down. Cleared the space already. And where did I put the cards? I tell you. Ah, here they are. Let's grab one. Right. Just, you know what? Let it go. It doesn't matter. You don't have to run out and buy a drum. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to worry. There's no requirements. There's no, expected test results. It's just being one with the divine, being in the moment. And ask Grimm and the rest of my family. I find all kinds of ways to drum, and drumming helps me ground. Sometimes drumming helps me create. That's a part of myself that I haven't shared with many people outside of my immediate family, but I tend to drum when things get heavy around me. I find myself in a rhythm. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. But of course, it doesn't mean it has to feel that way for you. And it doesn't mean that if you don't resonate with any of that somehow we're not meant to be, tribe or whatever. That's not the case. We all experience energy differently. And I've decided I just want to start sharing more of that with you all, about how I kind of experience the magic that I do, so that maybe for some of you things make a little more sense when you do them. Okay, I pulled a card for us, and it's funny, this guy, I shouldn't say guy, it doesn't have a gender necessarily, this card, but I guess I meant that this guy. I guess I meant it that way, because this card has popped up a few times this week. I'm not surprised, even though I shuffled many times since I pulled this yesterday for Tarot Tuesday. I wish I knew who my Tarot Tuesday people were if they were here, because I would ask you to guess which of the 3 cards from yesterday is the one that's sitting in my hand currently. Although it has a slightly different meaning today than it did yesterday. So, and of course there's a different group of people here now. So let's just take a look at what the 7 of Cups reversed means. by request, I had someone ask me, this is the Tarot Apocalyptica deck. They asked me to turn it right side up when I have an inverted card. So for me, it just changes the focus of the images that I'm looking at. So different images jump out at my eye as I look at this Seven of Cups. And here's what I see for us today, toward guiding us toward our own next best step, wherever that should mean. First of all, and this came up yesterday too, and it also came up in a reading earlier this morning. So I'm just going to say boldly, how many of you are feeling kind of stuck in a rut? Like you're looking forward to, really the Halloween season kicking in full gear, because I know that not all of you play Samhain all year long like Grim and I do. Grim and I and Mist, our little bus, wherever we live, has always got a lot of witchiness going on. That's just our aesthetic. But I know that's not possible for everybody, except that gracious period between sometime in September when the pumpkins start popping out until mid-November after Hecate's night. Which is typically around the 16th of November, I believe. But the rut that you're experiencing is a little deeper than just that. I believe this rut has more to do with the fact that you're just not okay with playing some of the roles that you've played. Whether that's with family or co-workers or friends, I'm unsure. But I know that particular game is getting old. I know that I don't want to imply that you're the victim at all in this situation. I don't want you to feel like a victim in this situation. It was an opportunity to learn. And please don't apply it to anything. I'm talking, this feels like a straight up relationship, like this is just how you interact with your family and how they interact with you. This is nothing sinister or dark or deep, nothing with sexual overtones or aggressive undertones, nothing like that. It's just the way that you have been received through your, interfacing with family and friends and your community and whatnot. You've always had that slightly offbeat rhythm. There we go again. Slightly offbeat rhythm to yourself anyways. Not everybody has always understood it. So when you do find a place that you're comfortable in, whether that's what you do for work or the role that you play in your family, because all of us have roles besides just daughter or mother or sister or aunt. Sometimes you got to play the tough guy. Sometimes you got to be the bad guy. Sorry, using that guy connotation again. I guess I'm a product of the 80s. Huh. Time to change something up a little bit. If something is feeling kind of monotonous to you, if it feels like it's not really going anywhere anymore, it might be a time for you to just change something. Change a part of the equation. We've talked about that a bunch of times. But it feels like this is, especially right now, you've got a full moon coming up on, I believe it's Friday. I'm sure if it's not, somebody will correct me, but and then Mercury retrograde on the 10th, and I know a lot of people gear up for that. So this is a good time to kind of, clear out some communication issues that may be existing. It's a fine time to kind of prepare yourself to be hit with some surprises in the emotional department. But don't do what you did the last time, this time. Pattern rolls around again. Change something up just a little bit. Change something. Change the equation. Switch it around. Figure out one thing you could do differently. Maybe it's a different walk around a different block. Maybe it's a different bench that you sit on in the park. Maybe it's a different time of day that you take a stroll. Maybe, I don't know why that's coming through so clearly, but it is. Of course, many of you own dogs, and I see a dog involved. But if you're feeling kind of monotonous, like you're ready for a change and you're not quite sure what that change could be or what it could mean, and you hear me talk about, stepping into the unknown and all that, and sure, Gussie, that all sounds great, but how do I do that? What do I do? How do I make that happen? Find what are your patterns and change one of your responses to that pattern and see what different result you get. I feel like I could launch into a discussion about the golden ratio right now, but I think I'm not going to. I think I'm going to save that for a later day because I've already been yapping away for 33 minutes. I would love to draw a card for you guys again, a single card for each person with a hashtag, but I don't see the comments yet when I am doing these live streams on YouTube. Grim and I and a couple of others are trying to figure out exactly how this all works. Sorry, we're new. It's a little bit different than the Facebook Lives that we've been doing, so it's just going to take some time. I appreciate your patience with us as we grow in a different direction, I guess. And that all resulted from me being in a pattern and deciding to change something. Just change one thing and see what happens. It's my best advice for today. That and buy a drum. Because I really, really am serious. I've been wanting to start a purple door drum circle or covened up, I don't care what we call it, a drum circle, for quite some time. It's been in my mind. Am I a great drummer? No. Do I know a bit about it? Yeah. Have I been part of drum circles in the past? Yes. Do I recommend them? Yes. If you can do one in public, should you? Yes, it's very cool. But I'm willing to try it with my tribe right here. And I'll bet you, knowing some of the energies involved, we could get a real awesome rhythm going. So, on that note, don't forget, drum or not, pause for peace at 9 p.m. wherever you are. On the Purple Door, that's something we started a few months ago, and we're really trying to keep it rolling. Just take yourself 9ish, whenever you can, when it comes to your mind around 9 p.m., set your alarm, or just know that after, whatever you do at 8:30, shortly after there comes, if you're one of those routine people, know that 9 o'clock is when we're just asking our witchy community to pause with us, meaning stop what you're doing, put down whatever you're holding, just take a minute to ground yourself, connect with the Mother Earth, connect with the sky above, connect with your ancestors, connect with your own self. The divine goddess energy. It doesn't take a long time. You don't need the special music. You don't need a candle lit. Although certainly it's beautiful if you find yourself in that position you.
Bless you.
Pardon me. But if you don't, that's okay. Pause anyway. Take those moments for yourself. Breathe in that deep, healing breath. Let it go to the places and spaces that you are holding fear, that you are holding pain, that you are holding stuck. Release the negative, unnecessary, diseased or damaged or somehow dead cells that are just taking up space. Release those back to the universe in your exhale breath. Once you get yourself centered a little bit more, do that a few more times, taking what you need and the rest of it pushing out into the universe. Let the rest of the world receive positive healing energy. When you're in that space, you shine vibrantly. First step is believing that you do. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you enjoyed our time together. I hope that you join me tomorrow for 420-ish Tarot. I hope that you've subscribed to the channel and liked this video and maybe tell some of your witchy friends about it because trying something new. All right, everyone, have a wonderful evening. Have a blessed evening. Stay magical.